Here's how we're going to meet. Here's the link. Here's what to expect when we have our calls. And then, just as Denny said, you want to right away give them an opportunity for a small win. A really great first small win is something like, join the Facebook group. Here's the link. Introduce yourself. So answer these 3 questions to the group and engage with somebody new. So that is right away, you're already engaging them, you're letting them get to work by doing something simple and easy, and they're like, all right, I'm already starting. This is great. Sometimes you also have frequently asked questions. So you could follow up that first email, like let's say your cart closed on a Friday and your first lesson is going to be on a Wednesday. You don't want to have radio silence for those 5 days. You would send an email on the first day when they purchased, and then another follow-up email, maybe with some frequently asked questions or a tip, or I just heard this in the Facebook group and it was amazing. Reminder, go to the Facebook group and share XYZ. You want to be continuing to communicate with them as they go from, I bought this course, but I haven't started yet, to now classes have begun. So this time period is called onboarding. So onboarding is when they go from, I just gave you my money, to the course has begun. Once the course has begun, then you get into something called fulfillment, and that is how you deliver your course. So again, you want to think through, they're going to want to know what to expect. And so you are going to send them weekly reminder emails? Are you going to be giving them homework? How are you going to be communicating with them during the lifetime, if you will, the 6 weeks, 4 weeks of the pilot course? And so this is fulfillment. A lot of times what we do with Miracy is we've gotten feedback over the years that daily emails or every other day emails gets to be too much. It's clutter. And so what we've gone to is we send once a week, here's the week ahead, and we map out on Monday, this is happening, Tuesday, that's happening, Friday is the live Q&A. Have a great week. Please send us a reply if you have any questions. And that has worked well for us. You, of course, can work out a system that works best for you and for your students. Then you also want to think about, in these emails, how do you want your students engaging with you, and how do you want them engaging with each other? If you've got a Facebook group, are you going to have them talking to each other? If so, Facebook groups can be a little challenging to keep lively. So it's a good idea to have a daily post, like a prompt, where you say, it is Grateful Wednesday. What are you grateful for today? And just a quick post, and have people say something simple, but you have a way to prompt them to talk to you and talk to each other within whatever social group you have, if you have that kind of a format where you want them to support each other. You also want to think about, I promise I'm closing up here soon, you also want to think about your collaterals. So collaterals are basically like handouts, checklists, homeworks. If you're doing a low-key pilot, this can be as simple as you email them a Word document. And we had our class on Tuesday. Tuesday night, I'm going to send you your homework via email. Fill it out, send it to me by Thursday, and we'll talk about it on next week's class. You all may have noticed that that is exactly what Danny has been doing during this boot camp. And that is a fabulous practice when you are delivering your pilot. Have your students submit some work, something simple, and pick a couple of examples and workshop it live on the next call. Have them ask questions. Have them interact with you. If you can see a theme where a number of students are kind of tripping up on the same topic, that is great information for you to let you know that this is something I need to talk about in next week's class. And that is another reason why we encourage pilots to be more of an outline than a really structured course, because it gives you the flexibility to address things that didn't quite click with the last lesson, and a way to understand what's working and what's not working for your students is to just workshop a couple of examples on the next class. And 2 final topics to think about as you're going through your course. This is something you want to think about before you create your course, before you build it, is it's really, really important to get feedback along the way, to have your students tell you what's working, what's confusing, what's amazing, and what they would choose to do better. And so you can shape this in a couple of different ways. You can do an intake survey and kind of gauge their level of knowledge or level of kind of transformation. Where are they on the before picture before they begin? And then as you're going through, you can send them, again, like SurveyMonkey is a really great platform to say, what did you like about the lesson? What could have been better about the lesson? And is there anything else you'd like to add? And so with each lesson, people can be giving you feedback so that you can make it better the next time. I mean, Course Builder's Laboratory, Danny, I think we're on our 5th iteration by now.
Yeah, I think it's the 5th. If you include, it's the, let's see, it's the 3rd major iteration, and I think we've had more than 2 pilots and test runs. So yeah, more than 5.
Yeah, yeah. And then one last thing is, as you're going through your pilot course, keep an eye out or an ear out for testimonials. And so what that could be is after Module 3, Susan sends you an email, says, oh my goodness, what you said on Tuesday's class was amazing. I had my aha moment, and she goes into it, and you're like, wow, that's so great. Hey Susan, would you mind if I use your words sometime in the future to share that with other people who might be considering taking my course? And so you always want to ask permission to use people's words, but you never know when a great testimonial might be on its way. If you don't happen to get any of those testimonials mid-course, you always want to ask for testimonials at the end. But there's a best practice for testimonials. So if I were to say, I loved Danny's course, Danny's awesome. That is a testimonial, but it doesn't really help Danny at all, because the potential customer doesn't know how did Danny help me, doesn't know if the problems that I experienced are the same ones that they're experiencing, and it really doesn't show how Danny helped me. So a better testimonial is to have your students talk through their before picture and their after picture. So you can give them prompts. So you can ask for testimonials, and so somebody says, sure, yeah, I'll give you a testimonial. Instead of just waiting for them to write up something, you say, oh, thank you so much. Here's a couple of prompts that might help you as you're thinking about what to write. And the prompts could be something like, before I started Jim's class, I fill in the blank. I was experiencing, I felt this, I struggled with that. And then the next prompt could be, during Jim's class, I learned blah, blah, blah. During Jim's class, I discovered I got over this hurdle, and so forth. So we're walking through the transformation. And then the next prompt can be, now that I have finished Jim's class, I can X, Y, Z. And so you're helping them to prompt through the transformational process so that a potential customer can understand, wow, I'm experiencing that same before picture. Jim helped this testimonial person walk through and get to results that I want. Maybe I'm really interested in this course. So there you have it. Any thoughts or comments, Danny?
I think that was amazing. So everyone, I wanted to share with you a little bit of context. So at the beginning of this, at the beginning of the hour, so essentially this was 45 or 50 minutes ago, I got on, we were just about to get started, I was chatting with Lizzie, and I was like, I feel like another perspective would be useful. What do you think of coming on for a couple minutes and sharing some perspectives on course creation? That was 45 minutes ago. She created that outline and just explained all of that off the top of her head with no prep whatsoever. How cool is that? Can we have just the digital equivalent of a round of applause? Do you guys want to just say a big thank you in the questions box? Because I was expecting 2 minutes. That was amazing.
Thank you.
And a huge unexpected testament to the quality of our coaching team.
Thank you very much.
Excuse me. And I've got actually a cool surprise. I just thought of something cool that I can share with you guys. So Lizzie was talking about testimonials, and testimonials are really important and super valuable. So would you guys want to know a trick for getting tons of really great, high-quality video testimonials? Tell me yes or no if you want that trick. People are saying yes. All right, so tell you what, I will share the strategy. I'll share it with you in like 5 or 10 minutes. Just stick around. I want to tell you a few other things first, and then I'll share with you that cool strategy. But first I want to wrap up the lesson. So we've talked all about the delivery of your pilot, the creation and the delivery of your pilot course. Now, of course, as we've said before, we all learn best through examples. So by all means, ask about your situation in the Q&A, or better yet, bonus, same thing we've been doing every day this week, I'm going to give you guys a homework assignment. And this one's a little more involved. Here's what I want you to do. Email me your course outcome and lesson. So in other words, what is the big promise, which is essentially your instant credibility formula? And then what is your lesson outline? So not like the bullets under each lesson, but I want to know what is lesson 1, what is lesson 2, what is lesson 3, what is lesson 4, the titles, and if necessary, if it's not self-explanatory, a line of explanation for each. And I'll give you feedback on that. You can send it to eni.danny@miracy.com. The subject is CBBL4 and your name. And I'll be very happy to give some people feedback tomorrow on this more involved work. So I think that'll be cool for everyone. Tomorrow, we've got a really cool session. Tomorrow we're going to talk about something that I usually don't get to talk about because it's kind of about the stuff that happens at the end. And if you don't talk about, the research and the marketing, then what I share tomorrow is irrelevant. But what I share tomorrow is actually really important. It's about how to think bigger, how to go from just one pilot to building a successful, thriving course business. How do you make your course better? How do you attract more customers? How do you scale everything up? Essentially, how did I go from having, one pilot course I told you about on Monday that, I launched for, whatever it was, like $137, and, we made, a little chunk of money, to here we are 5-6 years later, we've made over $10 million, we serve thousands of students. What is the key to making that transition? So that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow. It's going to be really, really great. Before we do that, I want to do 2 things. I want to quickly recap the special offer for bootcamp participants. I'm going to do it quickly because you guys have been hearing about it all week. And I also want to give you that special bonus I mentioned. And then I want to go to Q&A. So the special offer and invitation for all of you is to join the Course Builders Laboratory training program, which includes all the training and support that you need to launch your course guaranteed or double your money back. The way we deliver on this promise is by taking you through all the steps of this Course Builder's Blueprint. This content is delivered by myself and by Jim Hopkinson, our Director of Courses. I think something you're starting to see is that, Miracy is not just me. We have an entire team of brilliant course builders designing this material and supporting you in your journey. And that's really what makes you successful. You won't be doing it alone. Every student in our program gets a dedicated coach on my team, someone like Lizzie, maybe your coach actually will be Lizzie, who will be there to answer all of your questions within 24 hours through unlimited email support, through one-on-one calls at key checkpoints, and through daily office hours calls that you can just hop onto and talk to a coach. And there's an active Facebook student community as well. You get lifetime access to the course material. You also get lifetime access to the support. As long as you're working on building courses, we will be there to help you do it. And that's what allows us to guarantee results for our students. If you put in the time, do the work, and lean on your coach, then you will successfully launch your course, period. If you don't, we'll create a customized course correction plan to pinpoint your roadblocks and give you specific action steps to launch successfully. And if that plan doesn't work for any reason, we will give you double your money back. That is how confident we are that we can help you. And this guarantee is valid for a whole year, so it's not like you have 30 days and if you haven't launched in time or something. And this guarantee holds. We believe we can help you. We know we can help you. Even if you don't have a website or an email list, even if you've never built a course before, even if you suck at technology, aren't sure about the idea or the marketing or anything, or even where to get started. Tuition in the Course Builders Laboratory, including the strategies, the methodologies, the coaching, the support, and the guaranteed results, is just under $3,000. And we have a very accessible financing plan where you pay 12 monthly payments of $297. The premium price tag is what allows us to offer the support that nobody does and guarantee the results that nobody will. And that's a bargain at any time. But for you guys, it gets even better because you also get a year of access to Thinkific Business, which costs $1,000. And on top of that, you also get access to the unique technology that we've built with Thinkific, where you just plug in the basic information that you need to sell your pilot, and it automatically turns it into this beautiful, functional pilot sales page that can accept credit cards and get you up and running right away. Now, like I said, this is the part where you're like, yeah, where can I sign up? Where can I give you my credit card? And the answer is nowhere. You can't, because we take the success of our students very seriously, and we want to vet every single person who comes into the program. If we can't help you, we won't take your money. The only way to join is to talk with a program specialist so we can be sure that you're right for us and we're right for you. So if you want to explore whether we can accelerate your journey to build and sell premium courses, book a no-commitment call with a program specialist. You can do that at cblab.bz/cbb. I'm going to type that in for you guys, cblab.bz/cbb. And we'd love to work with you. This process has worked for me. It's worked for dozens of my private clients. It's worked for hundreds of my students. And it'll work for you. And I want to show you some examples. I tried to open this yesterday, but I don't know if there was a web issue or what. These are our successful students. You can see this. I'll put the link here as well. cblab.bz/gallery should bring you here. So if you go to this page, you can scroll down and see testimonials. And most courses that you buy have 2 or 3 or 5 testimonials. Scroll down, count them if you want. There's close to 100 testimonials on this page. And they just go on and on and on and on and on. And you can see what they have to say. This is all like real video, so it's not like just quotes that were made up. The Mirasee team has been nothing less than exceptional. I was able to bring in $23,500 in about 45 minutes. That is not a typical result, but it's still pretty cool. Launching my pilot was invaluable. It ended up being the most magical thing that could have happened to my business. I made probably about $3,700 on her very first launch. She's done more since then. There was so much support. We sold 33,000 pounds. I don't even know what the exchange rate is, but I feel like that's a lot of money. It paid for itself. It was a no-brainer. And it just goes on and on and on. And you can even see Lizzie here. Lizzie was a student of ours before she joined, before I hired her to help more people achieve what she achieved. So an awful lot of people, really great examples, and I guarantee you will find someone here who is like yourself.
Just for the record, I was sick the day that we recorded that testimonial, so please don't judge me on my looks from that video.
You look great in the video. Now, here's what I promised you guys, that I'd share how to get really high-quality video testimonials. And you'll see we have here a lot of them. So how did we get all these amazing video testimonials? So here's our process. This is the SOP that we use that you can implement really easily. You want to have a key milestone within your program. So for us, the key milestone is when somebody launches their pilot, because that's like the big, they've launched the course, they've made money, they have students, it's very exciting. You find what that milestone is. And as soon as someone hits the milestone, you want to reach out to them and say, congratulations, I'm so happy for you, and I would love to share your success with our community. How about if we record a short video interview? And there are 2 ways you can do this. You can say, how about if we record a short online video interview? And we do that sometimes. But usually what we say is, I would love to send a videographer to your house to interview you. That sounds fancy. That's like a big deal. People are like, yes, I'm really excited to do that. And then what you do is you go on Craigslist in their local area, you post an ad looking for a local videographer or skilled video production student. Typically for about $200 you can find a skilled, talented videographer that you give a script to who will go set up, interview them, and for those $200 you get broadcast quality video of someone saying how great you are, and you can just get it edited and set up. That is our standard operating procedure. That is why I'm pretty sure there are more success stories on this page than any of our competitors have altogether. There's arguably more success stories here than all of our competitors have in aggregate. That's how successful our course has been, and all we have to do is just gather up those results to be able to showcase with all of you. So if you want to have that same success, if you want to work with us and get access to a year of Thinkific Business plus our custom technology, go to cblab.bz/cbb. Do that now. Just book your call so it's on the books for whenever the time is available, because the spots are going to fill up. And between now and the end of the day or the next few hours, email me your course outcome and lessons. I'll pick a couple that I'll workshop on tomorrow's call. And with that, we will go to Q&A. Oops, what did I do? We'll go to Q&A. I will answer a bunch of questions, but we won't go for too long because I want to wrap things up a little earlier to give you guys a little bit of extra time back in your day. And we'll back for a powerful, exciting wrap-up tomorrow.
Great.
Lizzie, what questions do people have?
All right, terrific. So this question came in a little while ago from Elizabeth. She says, what if your class is actively doing something for show and tell, like cooking? You're not just a talking head. How would you recommend you conduct your pilot in that case?
It's a great question. I would still do it the same way. You know, most video conferencing technology these days, Zoom for example, can broadcast in HD. You can get a $100 webcam that can film in HD if your phone or your laptop doesn't already have that capability, which most do. It's really impressive what basic video conferencing technology that takes $100 if that to get set up will allow you to do these days.
Yes, Elizabeth, I can tell you, I personally have had a number of students who have been artists and they demonstrate their art via video web conferencing. And another possible way to frame it is that you could do some really short video clips that are pre-work for your students. So they watch a 3-minute video that you probably edited, because with food you've got to prep. And so they watch that pre-work, and then when they get on the call, there's sort of some action steps that you could walk them through together, or some instruction. Just some thoughts there. So Danny Sergey has a similar kind of question. He says, how do you deliver live when you're an expert, but you're not necessarily the best talker, or you're not fluent in English?
It's a great question. So fluency and comfort level is a challenge, but you get a trump card, and that is authenticity and vulnerability. So there's nothing that will give people, that will make people willing to be more patient with you, as if you just say at the beginning of your first lesson, wow, I'm really, really excited to work with you guys and to take you guys through this. I'll also be honest, I'm a little nervous. My English isn't amazing and I'm a little stressed, but I'm really excited to do my best for you guys. All of a sudden, people aren't sitting there kind of judging your delivery or your performance. They're collaborators with you. You're on the same team. And so if you know your stuff, if you can just remind yourself to relax and just talk and explain like you're talking to a friend, and you're honest and vulnerable. I mean, there are things you can do. You can absolutely go to Toastmasters and their trainings and stuff like that. But a big part of it is just pushing out of your comfort zone, being honest and vulnerable, and you'll be surprised. It usually goes a lot better than people think it will.
Absolutely. So Forrest says, other than additional support, what are the best ways to significantly increase the perceived value of your course for prospects? For example, free worksheets, short ebooks, or video series. Do you suggest adding high value added elements for each course module to reinforce the material?
I wouldn't worry about that too much. I would just focus on, I mean, it's not bad to do these things. Sure, you should, but I wouldn't worry about it too much. I would just focus on being clear about actually enumerating all the valuable stuff that people get as part of the course, all the learning, all the things they'll take away, right? At the core, either the stuff you're teaching is valuable because it leads to valuable outcomes, or it doesn't. It isn't. So you want to make sure that the course by itself, you don't want to have a lot of bonuses to make up for the fact that the course is not valuable, right? You want to build a valuable course and then maybe accentuate that a little bit with bonuses.
Great, thanks. Andrea asks, how do we give fulfillment on the marketing narrative promise of co-creating, at least so the student feels that?
By doing exactly what we said today. Instead of having a pre-scripted thing where you're just reading to people, actually delivering and adapting your curriculum in real time. That's really what it comes down to, right? Being willing to hear their feedback, and if everyone's having a great time, great, just keep on going. But if people have questions, if people have challenges, you adapt based on those things.
Amy is wondering, what does a successful launch mean to Miracy?
That's a great question, and we struggled with that for a long time because different people are in very different places. Case in point, Dory Clark launched her pilot and made $25,000 in 45 minutes, and I don't know if that's a spectacular number for her, but it's a phenomenal number for most people. And so the way we define success is the way you define success. At the start of the program, you're going to create a plan. You're going to say, based on where I am, here's the goal that I'm setting. Here's what I feel is achievable but also valuable and important for me. Here's what a meaningful success would look like. And your coach will sign off on that, and then that becomes the benchmark for success.
Thank you. We've got 2 quick questions about Thinkific. Stacy says, yesterday she was asking about the exact monthly price of a subscription to Thinkific after the first year, and do we know that answer?
I think you need to ask, just send an email to greg.smith@thinkific.com. The reason we don't have it offhand is that it's a non-standard pricing. Like what we basically did is we looked at the cost of the Course Builders Lab and the cost of Thinkific, and of course if you add them together it's more than what we're charging, so we just kind of like split the difference. And so like the two charges on the credit card will add up to the proper amount, but they're like not round numbers, but it's definitely discounted from what a regular plan with Thinkific would be. I just don't know the exact number, so you can email that to greg.smith@thinkific.com.
This question might also be for Greg, but I thought we could at least address it. Jackson's wondering if Thinkific's course design is well suited for a transformative, immersive experience, and it's not just, digitizing a physical lesson.
So the answer is yes, but to give you a detailed answer, we really need Greg because this is his baby. So I would suggest ask that again tomorrow, or just email greg.smith@thinkific.com.
Awesome. Alrighty, Vance says, do you recommend pre-selling the pilot course to students, gain their feedback, and then offer them the full course for no additional cost or the price of the pilot course?
Sorry, there was some static. Can you say that again?
No problem. Vance is asking, do you recommend pre-selling the pilot course to students, get their feedback, and then offer them the full course for no additional cost or for the price of the pilot course?
So the answer is generally yes, but it depends. So I believe in taking good care of the people who are with you first, who are part of that co-creative experience, because they're your early case studies or your success stories, and it's just the right thing to do. So usually what I would say is if you went through the pilot, I will upgrade you to subsequent versions of the course for free. When we do a new version of the Course Builders Lab, we don't charge extra to our past students, we just upgrade them. Now the possible exception is if you're doing a relatively inexpensive pilot for what will ultimately be an expensive course. So if I'm making up numbers now, but if your pilot's going to be $200 and your course will be $2,000, you might want to charge a small upgrade fee of a few $100s. So you're still getting a great deal, but it's just not like crazy.
All right, cool. Rebecca has a question that I'm actually going to field this one. So Rebecca says, do we have any input as to who we are assigned to work with? So Rebecca, if you were to invest in yourself and by joining the Course Builders Lab, we have a welcome survey in which you tell us a little bit about your experience, who you help and how, and that sort of thing. And then we assign students to coaches almost the exact same day. It's a very quick process. So we do base that off of expertise. But I can also tell you that all of our courses are, all of our coaches are very experienced and tenured with teaching CB Lab. And so no matter who your coach is, you're going to get the best support we offer. And occasionally, there are times where a coach and a student need to switch around for whatever reason, and that's also a possible option as well. So Danny, Shep has a question for you, which is that I've been listening for the last 4 days and I'm hearing mostly about courses for consumers. How are B2B strategies different? And what about for individual business owners?
So it's a great question, and they're not different at all for individual business owners. If it's B2B, the only thing that makes B2B different is if you have, there are two things. One is that you have potentially multiple stakeholders, which is actually not that different from a consumer situation if you have to get like the spouse on board or something, but you have multiple stakeholders in a B2B situation. There's the dynamic between them you have to account for. There's also the procurement process and cycle. We don't talk about that a lot in the Course Builders Lab, but everything we teach does adapt to making that happen. And a good thing for you to do would be just look through our gallery of successful students. There are B2B examples there, just find them.
Oops, I was muted there. Thank you. All right. So Asaf says, is it possible to leave the program at any stage, or are you required for the whole year?
You're not required to do anything. What you do is really up to you based on your goals. But if you're asking, can I start the program and then stop paying for it, the answer is no, because it's not a subscription. The program costs $3,000. There's also a financing plan. But, if you sign up, you owe us the full price of the program because you're buying the full program.
And SF has a follow-up question, which is, from your experience, what additional costs do I need to succeed in terms of marketing, equipment, I would imagine tech?
So it's a hard question for me to answer precisely because different people's courses are different, different people's needs are different. But the answer is basically little to none. Especially with this deal where you get access to Thinkific Business for a year, everything you need should be included. Like I can't imagine, maybe there'll be a few $100s of unexpected expenses in a worst case scenario. Even that's unlikely.
Danny, about how many more questions have we got time for?
Let's do 5 more.
All righty. All right, so Forrest says, regarding marketing approaches, what are your thoughts on using a giveaway or contest to generate a short list of potential prospects that would be interested in the course topic or niche?
I think it's a very good angle. It's something that we do a lot, but it's more suited to long-term ongoing marketing than the marketing of a pilot. When you're marketing a pilot course, generally you have a limited amount of reach, a limited number of people you can tell about the pilot. And what that means is that if you add the step of giving the free thing to segment the list, you end up often with not enough people.
Great. So Tony is wondering, do you think it'd be possible to build a course to help people decide on whether to divorce or not? I'm a licensed psychologist who has many credentials in this area.
Tony, that's a great question. And the answer to that is no and yes. So here's what I mean by that. There are a lot of things where people have a need for learning something, and so there's an opportunity for a course. This is one of them. The challenge is that in many of those cases, what people really want is not to develop a competency, right? Nobody is interested in becoming skilled at knowing whether to get a divorce or not. They just want an answer to their problem, right? You see this a lot in the health space. Nobody wants, if I'm sick, I don't want to take a course to learn how to be good at being healthy. I just want to know what to do to be healthy. Now that doesn't mean you can't sell a course. It just means that you don't call it a course. In the health space, usually you're going to call it a protocol, right? It's the same thing as a course for all intents and purposes, but you're calling it something different. In cooking, it might be called a recipe or a blueprint. It might be a formula. In this case, it might be a decision-making checklist. I don't know what the right languaging is, but I would say that in your space, probably you will not be able to sell a course about, because people don't want to become good at this. They don't want to learn it. But if you call it something else, you can probably sell a course successfully in this space.
Really interesting. Yeah. So Danny, Rebecca is wondering about support. She says, by support, do you have a help desk that would be available to our students?
So I'm not sure if Rebecca is asking about the support that she would offer to her students or the support that we would offer to her through the Course Builders Lab. But I can answer both of those. They're kind of related. So the amount of support and the the character of support that you offer will depend a lot on the subject matter and the price. Right? Some subject matters are complex. They need a lot of hands-on support. Other subject matters are not. And corresponding to that subject matter and complexity is the price, which is what justifies your investment. So I'll give you two examples of ours. We have two programs. One is called Standout Guest Posting. It's a $200 course about guest posting effectively. It's a great course. It's not that complicated. We don't offer a dedicated coach or anything like that because people just don't need it. It's not that complicated. The Course Builders Lab is very complicated subject matter. As you've seen for the last 5 days, there's just a lot to know. There are a lot of things that you need to get right. So every student in the Course Builders Lab works with a dedicated coach on my team. Right? So, and you know, the Course Builders Lab is a $3,000 investment, so I can justify that. I can pay my coaches. So for your pilot course, you want to charge enough that will allow you to provide the support you need, and usually with the pilot course, you will provide that support yourself. Later on, as you turn it into a full course, you know, just like back in the early days, I supported students myself once upon a time. But over time, as you build it into something scalable, you can scale that support. Now I have coaches who work for me who are fantastic, like the people, you know, Lizzie, who you heard from today, and they provide that support. So it's not about eliminating support, it's about making that support scalable and cost-effective.
Great. So Danny, Lauren says, if you have a lot of lessons scheduled within your course, should all of the information be included in the pilot?
That's a great question. The answer is not necessarily. So a pilot is really a vehicle for validating assumptions, right? Assumptions around marketability. You know, do people actually want this? Will they pay for it? Assumptions around your ability to deliver the subject matter and get people to results. Assumptions around what people understand and succeed with. And you might find that in order to validate all the key assumptions for a course, you don't actually need to teach all the material for a course. So it's not unusual that the pilot will only be the first portion of the course. You know, actually, in a lot of ways, this boot camp is a great illustration of that. You know, everything we talked about really only falls into the first third or so of what we teach in the Course Builders Lab, because what we've talked about is only leading up to the pilot. And of course, we left out a lot of detail as well, but just because, you know, there's only so much time that we have. But it's enough for you to get a sense of, is this valuable? Will this work for you? So what it really comes down to is you don't have to teach everything, but you have to teach enough for you to be confident that, yes, people will want this, they will pay for it, and I can deliver the outcomes that they want.
Danny, if I may, I would just love to share a comment from Anne. Anne and I have actually emailed recently, and Anne says, regarding support from Mirasee, I stopped for almost 2 years due to severe illness, and they are working with me now to finish my courses with them. Believe it or not, they do care. And thank you so much for that. That is so gratifying to read. I really appreciate it.
And I love that. Thank you so much. We really do care, and it means a lot to know that you noticed that, so thank you. And I do want to respect everybody's time. I want to give everyone a little bit back in their day. If you have questions about Thinkific, you can just send an email to greg.smith@thinkific.com, or just, you know, ask tomorrow. Greg will be here. If you have questions about the Course Builders Laboratory, you can show up and ask tomorrow. We'll have lots of time for questions. Or reply to any email you've received about the bootcamp. I'm answering all those emails personally. I'm happy to answer your questions about the Course Builders Lab or refer them to someone on my team who can provide a better answer if appropriate, but really happy to answer. And really, though, for all these questions that you have, for all the questions about the Course Builders Lab, go to cblab.bz/cbb and book a call with a program specialist. That's your opportunity to have a conversation with someone who knows the course very well to really understand whether it's right for you in all the details. So go ahead and do that. We're very eager to work with you. We're very eager to take everything we shared with you today and help you turn it into a reality, turn it into a course that is successful, that changes lives, that creates a financial return for you, that really does everything that you're seeking to do in the world through courses. So go ahead and do that. Book the call. We're excited to work with you. Submit your homework, don't forget. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys back tomorrow for the 5th lesson. It's going to be great, and it's been great going through this with you guys this week. Thank you, and I will see you tomorrow.